Hey guys, it's Joe and Nick from the Meta Capital, and today we're going to be looking at the rotation and our prediction of what we think the rotation will be. I personally think it will be X, Y on for multiple reasons. The first one of them, it's very obvious, is that Plasma Lugia was reprinted in Legendary Treasures. So if they did Legendary Treasures on, that would be the only Plasma Pokemon. So that would be very random if they did that.
Another reason why is in the new set Bandit Ring, they pretty much made a reprint of Mewtwo, but in colorless form. The Lugia EX has a Aero Ball attack that does 20 damage times the number of energy attached to both Pokemon, which is the same thing as Mewtwo's attack. So if they did do Legendary Treasures on, remember that Mewtwo was reprinted as Legendary Treasures, so I mean, they wouldn't do that because they'd have two Mewtwo's in the format, which doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah, and the Plasma Lugia that we have now actually has a useful second attack too, being it does the Mewtwo's first attack X-Ball, and then its second attack is pretty much like a mini Groudon's Gaia Volcano attack.
Yeah.
So they're making it more useful. It's colorless. Overall, I'm highly doubt that they will go not X, Y on. That's the thing that makes the most sense.
The last reason why is because of Spiritomb. The card from Legendary Treasures, which makes it so no one can play any Ace specs. And if they rotate Ace specs, which they pretty much have to, because Computer Searches and Boundaries Crossed, and that's the oldest set that they kind of have to rotate unless they don't do any rotation. So then that card would also be useless. So now let's get into the cards that we would lose if it was XY on. So first we have the scans here on PokeBeach. We have...
First big card I see here is Celebi EX.
Yeah.
That one, it didn't really have any use until Medicham came out, and people would use Medicham and use the ability Time Recall, so they could use Meditite's attack and attack for only one energy.
Yeah. Which
could prove to be really big when they couldn't have two energies.
And then scrolling down here, we find this Blastoise. Now, for those of you who don't know, if you don't watch the World Renowned Heretics channel, or don't know about Steve Guthrie, he pretty much loves this guy right here. He uses the Archie's Ace in the Hole to get him out of the discard pile turn 1 without evolving. And this Deluge ability was super, super popular. It came second in Worlds in the Seniors Division last year, I believe, and it was pretty much at a point dominating the format. So that's another card that we will lose in the XY on rotation.
But we do have to know that Blastoise was reprinted in Plasma Blast.
Yeah.
If they did do something else, and Plasma Freeze as well. I'm pretty sure it got a secret rare in that set. But yeah, Blastoise is another big card.
And then
Keldeo.
Yeah,
that's
we can talk about that.
Card. That's probably the biggest card in Boundaries Crossed that we lose.
Maybe
Keldeo Floatstone has been one of the best combos we've ever seen. It's for switching, you can't beat that. It's just insane. It's really, really good.
Yeah. And especially in the metal deck, which gained some popularity in the Nationals kind of season here. It was used. You pretty much can't run metal without it because the Metal Link's ability can only attach metal from discard pile onto your bench Pokemon. So if you simply rush in with Keldeo, you can attach to your bench and then retreat. So it's really good, and I think Metal will lose a lot of power. Same with Metal Rayquaza, which we've said in one of our previous videos.
Yeah, that's kind of our opinion on that. The next one I see is Dusknoir.
Yeah.
That was really big. Many players used to use this with Empoleon. At last year's U.S. Nationals, Ishan Jagrisi, the senior champion, he used Empoleon Miltank Dusknoir to get himself a national champion.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Dusknoir is one of the biggest cards. Yeah, that was its overall great card.
Let's see. Oh, Landorus EX. This is a card that I want to talk about. Okay, so this is my boy here. It's received a ton of hype since the set just came out. Well, when the set just came out. Hammerhead for just 1 energy says 30 and 30. I remember last year it was probably one of the main attackers in Brandon Salazar's deck, which was a Landorus, Raichu, Mewtwo, Garbodor deck, and is very powerful.
Yeah. The next card we see, it's kind of small, but we see a Flygon.
Yeah.
This Flygon was used at last year's NAS. I mean, it didn't really do anything this year, so it's not too big to lose, but
yeah,
last year players did use it.
Alright. We have Ditto here, which was used in... It's not really that big, but it was used and did help a little bit in the Flareon deck.
Yeah, and another one from the Flareon deck is Audino with the busy body ability. Once through your turn for your attack, if this Pokemon is in your hand, you may reveal it. If you do, heal 10 damage and remove a special condition from your active Pokemon. Then discard this card.
Yeah, that card did see a lot.
It's just another easy discard. Yeah, and it proved to be pretty good.
Now, scrolling down here, I think one of the biggest cards that we lose is Computer Search.
Yeah, Computer Search is huge.
It's pretty much used in every single deck.
Yeah, that was V's Computer Search and everything.
Yeah, although if it is an XY on rotation, we're going to lose all our A specs, so... But Computer Search is probably the biggest one because it's probably the most popular and most powerful, in my opinion.
Okay.
So that's pretty much it from Boundaries Crossed. Besides Skyla, which, funny enough, will be reprinted in, as an XY8 promo, so we don't really be talking about that much.
So now, next we're moving on to Plasma Storm, one of my favorite sets.
Yeah.
So looking, see Victini EX. That Victini proved to be a really big player in many Parisian Genesect decks, things to counter Parisian Genesect, such as Seismitoad. It really helped just one-shot the Parisians and one-shot the Genesects. So overall, that was a really good tech card in many decks.
Especially with the A-Spec Victory piece, it can use Intensifying Burn for 0 energy and just do 200 damage to Parisian and Genesect EX.
Okay.
And
the Magnezone's interesting. I don't know if you would know about that, Nick. The one that plays 2 supporters.
Yeah. I mean, it's all a little bit of play in people's fantasy decks here, but yeah, you may play... It has an ability where you can play 2 supporter cards. I don't think it was seen in... I don't think it had a big finish in pretty much any tournament that I've seen, but it's still a fun little card that people really liked. So we will be losing that.
Free Flight Zubat. Yeah. That's a huge card. You want to talk about that, Nick?
Sure. Okay, so Zubat here, 40 HP little guy, but it does have the Free Flight ability. If this Pokemon has no energy attached to it, has no retreat cost, and as you know, bats like Golbat and Crobat have been super popular at Nats. One of the most popular decks, or the 2 most popular decks, Raichu Bats and Landorus Bats, both are very heavily reliant on bats, especially the Zubat here with the Free Flight, because you will pretty much never have any energy on the Zubat, so it pretty much has free retreat, and losing this 40 HP little Zubat is actually pretty huge in decks that rely on bats. So.
The next card, a small card I see, just to note, Tool Drop Trubbish.
Yeah.
Once a small, not big influence, but a small influence on the metagame.
Yeah.
A while ago.
Yeah, and then Startling Megaphone came out, and then no one saw, and then Seismitoad came out. And Alright, next card, here we have Dawn Fan. It saw a lot of hype at cities, and a little bit at regionals after cities, whatever regionals that was, I forget. But spinning turn is 40, and then you switch it with one of your bench. This received absolutely zero hype when it first came out, but once Furious Fist came out with the strong energy in the fighting stadium in Karina, it gained so much power.
And then the next card, we have an EX here, Cobalion EX, one of the biggest players. It's used for both of its attacks. Last year, more used for Steel Bullet, so it could go through things like Pyroar and Safeguard. And this year, it's more for Righteous Edge, so you could take off the DCE on Seismitoad.
Yeah.
And then another big EX is Black Hiram. Black Hiram was used along Blastoise decks. They would load up a big Black Hiram and then they could one-shot things. And this year, it was more used for Mega Manectric. And they'd use the Mega Manectric to power up the Black Hiram.
Yeah, that was pretty big. I actually tested that deck out a little bit. It's very, very powerful. Next we have a Lugia EX here. My second competitive deck that is actually one of my favorite decks of all time. The Lugia EX deck. It has an overflow ability. If your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out by damage from attack, you take one more prize card, so you could have a potential turn 2 win with this deck, which is kind of crazy. But Plasma Gale for 4 energy does 120 and it discarded Plasma Energy. But if you have 4 Deoxys and a Muscle Band or whatever, 3 Deoxys and Muscle Band, it knocks out most EXs that are not Megas, so it was really good.
Scrolling down to the trainers,
Ooh.
Chorus is a huge thing that we lose.
Yeah.
It saw lots of play in many Skyfield decks because they could do a big Chorus for 16 cards, whereas Chorus used to be maxed out at 10. And now with all the big benches with Shaman, you could do big things like Chorus for 16.
The biggest Chorus I've ever had is 13, but...
Yeah, I've hit that 16.
The next one here, I'm just going to go to the combo. Verbank, Laser. So, we got Laser here. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now Poison, and then you flip a coin of heads. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now Sleep. But then, when combined with Verbank City Gym, instead of putting 1 damage counter in between turns, you put 3 damage counters on your Pokemon in between turns. And this helps out extremely with decks that have little damage and need a lot of big damage modifiers, such as Seismitoad EX. I think that deck will lose a lot of power just because without Verbank Laser, it's not hitting for a lot of damage at all anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the biggest thing we lose of all the Plasma stats. So many decks run Verbank Laser. That was just one of the best combos we've ever had. But looking at the ace specs, the one big one I see is probably Dowsing Machine.
Yeah.
Dowsing Machine, it wasn't that popular, but it was used mainly in Sableye decks. So they could junk hunt for Dowsing Machine and keep playing it.
Yeah.
So, that's something to note. But I think that's all for the next set. Do you have anything else, Nick?
Nope. Let's just go on to Plasma Freeze, the next Plasma set. So, the first card I see here is the Execute Executor. This card, these cards receive a lot of good, powerful decks because the Executor with the blockade attack, you can't play any supporters, and when Seismitoad was really big, this pretty much countered it, although Seismitoad Slurpuff counters Executor just because Slurpuff is pretty much your supporter. But anyways, and also the baby egg, the Execute, received a lot of play in decks like Mega Rayquaza because you can really put Executes on the bench whenever you want, and if your player counters your Skyfield, you can just discard them and then put them back on your bench, which is really cool.
Okay. And next we have Leafeon and Flareon.
Yeah.
Leafeon and Flareon didn't receive too much hype. It was more of just a deck of all the evolutions together. But Leafeon proved to be really good in countering Seismitoad because it automatically did 80 damage if they just had a DCE on them. And then if you put another one on them, all you need is a Muscle Band and you're one-shotting Seismitoads.
Yeah, plus the
And
resistance
Flareon.
of water.
Yeah, go ahead.
Plus he has resistance to water, so.
Yeah, and then Flareon proved to be really big as the Vengeance attack. That actually won Florida Regionals.
Yeah.
It used the Leafeon, like we said earlier, the Audino, the Ditto, so many cards to discard and stuff, and it proved to be very good.
Yeah. Let's see. We've got not really a lot of water Pokemon except for this Plasma Kyurem. It just mainly used just in Team Plasma decks that just rely on Team Plasma Pokemon because the Frostview attack for 2 energies does 30 and 30, kind of like the Landorus EX, but the Landorus EX is just a little bit better just because it has 1 energy for 30. Also, a lot of water decks kind of tech Kyurem because it's not weak to grass, it's actually weak to metal, so that way they don't have a grass-weak Pokemon in their deck.
Yeah, just play around with weakness.
Yeah.
But Kyurem proved to be really good with Deoxys and Thundurus, and here we have Thundurus EX. What Thundurus was mainly used for was Ride-In Knuckle, because you could attach an energy from your discard pile onto one of your bench Team Plasma Pokemon. So you could put, and it doesn't say basic energy, so you could put special energy too. So that proved to be very good. So yeah, Thundurus, Deoxys, Kyurem, or TDK was one of the biggest decks we had.
Yeah. Now let's go to Mr. Mime. It was once Landorus EX got popular, Mr. Mime got popular. That's pretty much how it is. If Landorus is popular, Mr. Mime is popular. It's mainly used in decks that have very little HP and can easily get knocked out by Landorus just sniping the bench, like Night March and Raichu Bats mostly. Bench Barrier prevents all damage done to your bench Pokemon by attacks, just by attacks, so the bats actually do hit the bench too, but it's still very, very popular barrier here for your bench.
So here we have Deoxys EX.
Yeah.
Most people would think this is pretty bad, right? It only adds 10 damage. That's terrible.
Yeah.
But then when you start adding 4 of them on your bench, you can pull up really good combos, such as with Lugia EX we saw earlier. It does 120 damage, right? And then you put 4 Deoxys on your deck, on your bench, and it does 40 more damage, and then a Muscle Man, and then you're one-shotting pretty much every single EX in that format.
Yeah.
Not this one, but that format. So overall, that was a very good card.
And also the attack was kind of used a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's go down here. I guess we'll talk a little bit about this Team Plasma Absol. Mind Jack, 20 damage, and that does 20 more for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. And it's good for, it's good in Plasma. It's good in the mirror match for Plasma because in Plasma your bench is pretty much always full. And Mind Jack, combined with Deoxys, can do monstrous amounts of damage.
Yes. Now we have this Kecleon. Kecleon, really underrated. It just started popping up recently. With the M-Attack and color change, it can be a really good counter to Mewtwo, be able to one-shot it a decent amount of times, and just has a one-price attacker, and it can really counter Mega Rayquaza very well, because you just put Kecleon down, attach a DC and energy, and then you are one-shotting Mega Rayquazas. It's using their bench.
It's also, of course, really good against Mewtwo.
Yes.
And next for the trainers here, I guess I'll talk about this Float Stone a little bit here. This was used in the Keldeo Float Stone combo. Also, most decks that run Garbodor, that has the Garbotoxin ability, which shuts down abilities if it has a tool attached to it, uses Float Stone because Garbodor has 3 retreat costs, so just having a Float Stone as that one tool attached to it is really good because if they last under your Garbodor, you can just free retreat.
Not be stuck in the active spot.
Yes.
The next And last big trainer, I think, or there's two actually.
Yeah.
Team Plasma Ball was absolutely insane in the Team Plasma decks because it's just a pretty much a free whatever Pokemon you want to search for. And then Superior Energy Retrieval is really big in Blastoise decks because once they put all that energy on a big Keldeo and it gets knocked out, you just Superior Energy Retrieval and boom, you get all that energy back.
Yeah, also in the Ray Eels deck, it was pretty huge. You couldn't run it without it.
Yeah. And the last card, it's a secret rare. The secret rare Ultra Ball proved to be like it's worth so much money now. Right now it's going for like how much do you think it is, Nick?
I don't
it's
know.
Over 80 for sure.
Yeah.
And with the reprint in Roaring Skies, we know it's going to be around for longer. So
yeah. Also, Max Potion.
Yeah.
This card, it was reprinted in the set. That's why it's legal today. And it's mainly used in fairy decks and in Wailord decks. So
yeah.
good
Okay.
card.
Anything else about that set, Nick?
Was Empoleon? No, that was... Yeah, I guess we'll just go over Empoleon here. Diving Draw. Once during your turn, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do, draw 2 cards. This was also used with Archie's Ace in the hole. And it was mostly used in Night March decks, just so you can run through your deck even faster. Next we have Sigilif with the Safeguard ability. Prevent all effects of attacks and damage done to this Pokemon. Pokemon EX. And Pokemon EX is really, really popular. I don't think there's ever been a format that with EXs in the format, I've never think there's been a format without EXs. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah.
Yeah. And
then Garvador is the last thing I want to talk about in this set. Even though it was reprinted in Legendary Treasures, I just want to get it over with. Garbotoxin, I just talked about. It shuts down abilities if it has a tool attached to it, and it's used a lot to shut off abilities, and abilities is always really good in every deck.
Okay, now we're going to be moving on to Plasma Blast.
Yeah.
So, the biggest thing about Plasma Blast was Virizion Genesect. That was the deck for so long. It won a world championship. It won a national championship. And it's still, to this day, one of the most consistent decks we've ever had.
Yeah.
Virizion EX, what you do is power up a Virizion, start Emerald Slashing, putting some energy on Genesects, and powering them up. And then when you're ready, you just retreat it, bring up Genesect, and then you could red signal something down, and then Chi Booster it, and one hit KO it. But overall, it's just a great, great card.
Yeah, great combo. And here we already talked about Blastoise, and here's a Suicune. Not that. This Suicune. Safeguard. I talked about Safeguard a little bit. It just prevents damage from attacks by Pokemon EX. Personally, I like Suicune better than Sigilif just because it has a higher HP, and that's always huge, especially when it's supposed to be a wall in a deck. So.
Yeah, that was a great card. Really good in Kyogre.
Yeah.
So, the next card I can kind of think is Sigilif with the Toolbox ability. Really good with the Trubbish we went over from Boundaries Cross, I think it was, or Plasma Storm. It was Plasma Storm. Yeah, that was just proved to be a really good combo.
Yeah. So, okay. Jirachi.
Yes.
Okay, so Jirachi is at a point was used in pretty much every single deck, and I think a lot of players do put it in every single deck still. I personally am not a fan of it just because of that cheap 90 HP, but actually that cheap 90 HP did come in handy a lot when Level Ball was in rotation, because you could just Level Ball for a Jirachi, and it was just insane.
Yeah, that was really good. Scrolling down now to the trainers.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like Silver Bangle the big cards. Really good in Dawn Fan. Really good on Halucha, one of Nick's favorite cards.
Oh yeah, my favorite card of all time.
But yeah, Silver Bangle's just a really good card.
Yep. Also, Rare Candy, when Seismitoad wasn't annoyingly popular, Rare Candy was it was just insane. You can even get turn 2, stage 2, which is awesome.
Looking at the 8 specs, the big one we see here is G-Booster. This is what put Rizzy and Genesect over the top. This gave it the one-shot potential it needed, and it was huge.
Yeah, it's not that good anymore just because of all the megas and Wailord. So we also have the Scoop Up Cyclone A spec. I like it in my Landy Bats deck just to scoop up your bat line and just reuse it. It's really good. I like that A spec a lot. One of my favorites. And
anything else from that set?
Nope. Let's just go on to the next set, which I believe is Legendary Treasures, which is the last set that we'll talk about that we think that we would be losing.
Yeah.
It's a reprint set, so there's only a few
lot of these cards you'll just see again, like we've already gone over. But Victini, I'll try to go over
we've gone over. We have Emboar here, which I actually used in my very first competitive deck, which is the Inferno Fandango. As often as you like during your turn, you may attach a fire energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon. So that's extremely good with Rayquaza EX, the Dragon type one from Dragons Exalted.
I'm not going to go over Keldeo just because we've already done that.
Mewtwo.
But, yeah, Mewtwo EX, huge card. I mean, this was probably the most... Yeah, the Mewtwo is just insane until Yveltal came out.
Yeah.
And then Yveltal just edged it out.
Yeah, totally.
Lots of instances where Mewtwo's and Mewtwo's are fighting each other. They both have DCs on them. They're doing 160 to each other because of weakness. So that at one point that proved to be very annoying when you just had Mewtwo
Wars. Yeah, Mewtwo Wars were great. I loved them. But we already talked about most of these cards. Going down, we see Darkrai EX here, mainly used in the Yveltal decks. But there was a point when Yveltal was not legal, where just Darkrai himself was just a great card. Dark Cloak is mainly used today, just because if you're running a dark deck, it's good to have all your Pokemon have free retreat. It's really good. Also, the Night Spear attack is amazing too. So.
Yeah. Moving on to the trainers, Crushing Hammer, I guess.
Well, Crushing Hammer is reprinted.
But we have to note that this will not be rotating.
Yeah.
Because it was reprinted in Kalos starter set.
Yeah.
So Seismitoad will still have those Crushing Hammers to use.
Next in a Radiant Collection, all we really see here is Mew EX.
Yes.
So Mew EX with the versatile ability, this Pokemon can use the attacks of any Pokemon in play. Both yours and your opponent's, actually. So I've actually come across some instances where I'm going against a Seismitoad deck and I'm actually using Quaking Punch and I don't even run any Seismitoads in my own deck, which is kind of fun. But yeah, mainly use the two decks in Night March because of all the Night March Pokemon have either 60 or 30 HP. And having a 120 HP EX Pokemon to use those attacks instead of a derpy little 60 and 30 HP is way better. Also used in the Trevgor deck, which I don't even want to talk about. It was way annoying. But, yeah. So, that's all the cards that we'd be losing if there was an XY on rotation. So, you want to talk a little bit about the decks that will be gaining and losing popularity?
Yeah, so my prediction is Night March. Night March, we'll talk about Night March first. I'm really kind of unsure about this because Night March used Mew EX a lot, and that's how it copied all of its attacks. And without Mew, it doesn't really have. You have to attack with those tiny Joltics and tiny Pumpkaboos. But I think with the reprint of Revive in Growing Skies, the deck will still be alright. How about you?
Yeah, I think the main decks that we see being popular these days is decks that run heavily on Keldeo EX, like the Metal deck and the Kyogre EX deck. Without Keldeo, it's pretty much not like good. I'd see Rayquaza still being good, but not really the Metal version. I'd see like the version with Altaria and stuff like that, except usually in that version, Virizion and Executor used, those are going to be rotated. So I really don't know, but I just think the decks that have Keldeo in it will lose a lot of popularity. Also, a deck that will actually gain popularity, which is kind of really cool, is Landy Bats, or I guess we'll call it like Lucario Bats. Because Landy is getting rotated, but Lucario EX I've tested a lot is super good. And Hawlucha, of course, is the best card in the format, so that's pretty good. And also in the new set, Bandit Ring level ball is getting reprinted, so that makes the deck really good.
Yeah, and then you can like search for your bats really easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just makes good searching with bats. You could take the Hawlucha out easily. If Jirachi was still in the format, we could go get a Jirachi. But more on what decks will be good. We think definitely Lucario bats should be really good. I still think like some Aromatisse box variants, like stuff that just use Aromatisse to move around energy. Fairy will still be probably good.
Potion, that might struggle.
Because Fairy doesn't lose anything, really, other than Max Potion.
Yeah. Denver's, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I think we've touched on everything. So,
yeah, pretty much. Like, Metal Rayquaza, we kind of tested a little bit. We're kind of mixed feelings on it, because it's good, but it really, like, it gets really hurt by, Keldeo and Floatstone. Losing that really hurts the deck.
I'm sure someone will find a way to make it good without Keldeo Floatstone, but for now, that's all that we wanted to say in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for more of these kinds of videos we'll be uploading. So yeah, thanks for watching, and stay tuned.